I will now teach you the 7 major cupping techniques. And when we're working with cupping, with fire cupping, we're in this traditional view of the body, and we're mainly working with chi, blood, and the body fluids. And as I show you these techniques, I'll also point out the type of person or the type of constitution who this cupping technique is aimed for. So when you're deciding which technique to use, you'll go back to these assessments that I've taught you here in order to discern which of these cupping techniques is appropriate for your client. I will begin by showing you the dry cupping techniques. And within that, the first technique, so the number 1 technique that we'll show here is static cupping. And within static cupping, we have light, medium, and strong static cupping. So these are all under the umbrella of static cupping. So with light static cupping, the mode is very light suction. And with this, we want to apply oil to the area to be cupped. The majority of cupping techniques, you will have oil already placed on the skin. So you have your client placed appropriately. There's oil on the skin. And you're going to use a smaller cotton here. So this is half of a cotton ball. And we're going to use just a little bit more time from the introduction of the flame to the placement on the skin. Because the idea here is that the suction should be very weak. So I will demonstrate here with a couple of different cups. So we'll apply all of the cups and then we'll check for the suction. So we have our cotton here and we have the flame. So again, this is light cupping technique. So smaller cotton, a little bit more time for the introduction of the flame. And then you'd apply all of the cups that you're going to apply for the treatment. And I'll show you here with 2. All right, so when you're using this light cupping technique, what we're going for here is just a small amount of the skin is pulled into the cup. So basically the skin is just barely pulled into the cup. And what we're looking for here is just a light reddening of the skin. We don't want a dark red mark. We certainly don't want a dark purple mark. And the reason is that this is a very tonifying method. It strengthens chi. It's what's used for removing wind and blood and fluid stagnation gently from the body. And this is used for your clients who perhaps have a weak constitution. So in your elderly clients, frail clients, people who are recovering from illness or from surgery, any children over the age of 7, this is an appropriate technique for. And if you're checking for your suction here, if you feel that at any point in time the suction is too much, then you just take your finger and then just gently reduce the suction. And if the cup comes off, that's totally fine. That happens, and you can just reapply the cup to the skin. This is also the type of cupping that's appropriate in pregnancy. And cups can be left in place for 5 to 15 minutes because, again, this is a really light method of cupping. But make sure that you stop the treatment when the skin looks evenly slightly red, so no longer than that. So I would say that this is evenly slightly red. So at this point, I would go ahead and pull this cup off of the skin. So again, you're pressing your hand down, you're pulling off the cup away from you. The second method of static cupping that I will show you here is medium static cupping. And just like the name suggests, it's a medium amount of flame and there's a medium amount of skin pulled into the cup. This is the type of cupping or the technique of cupping which has the widest range of application, and it's the one that you will use most frequently with your clients. So again, here we have our client prepared. We have some oil on the skin, and then this is just 1 cotton ball, and I've soaked it in the alcohol, and we're just going to use sort of a medium technique here. And this weak, medium, and strong, they're kind of relative to each other. So you'll have to use your best judgment as we see how much skin is pulled into the cup, and then what the skin starts to look like as the cupping procedure goes on. So we'll start by introducing the flame into the cup. So this is medium, so I'm going to hold the cup just a little bit closer to the skin. And then again, just really quickly put the flame in and place the cup down. And we see that more skin is being pulled in here than what we did with the weak. And then again, we'll place another cup, and that just naturally pulls that skin in there. And if you start to pull on these cups, there's a lot more suction going on here than just with the weak method. The skin is starting to look a little bit more dark than what we had with the weak method. This has a wide range of application, and it's a tonifying method because you're only going to use this on clients who have robust chi. So this is not for your clients who are elderly, ill, or recovering from any type of surgery or illness. This would be on the majority of clients who you see who have a nice constitution, they're in good health, and they're coming to you for things like pain conditions, musculoskeletal conditions, respiratory conditions, asthma, allergy, any type of arthritis, stress-related conditions, anxiety, depression, as well as sports injuries. And children over the age of 7 can use this technique. The cups can be left on for up to 15 minutes. And what we're going for here in terms of the marks is we're going for the skin to look to be a slightly red to maybe a dark red, or even in some people, they have a light purplish color to them. So as they are left in place and as you go through the treatment, that's what you're looking for, is that darker red to happen on the skin. And whenever you feel that that is occurring, then you can go ahead and just remove the cup. And we can see this is a darker mark than what we had in terms of the weak cupping. Our final static method is strong cupping. And this type of cupping strongly manipulates qi and blood. You're going to have a very strong suction. So here I have 2 cotton balls, and you're going to hold the cup pretty close to the skin in order to really pick up that flame and get a nice strong suction on the skin. So here I have my 2 cottons, and then I have my cup, and I'm going to hold this pretty close to the skin, put the flame in the cup, and then immediately get the cup around the skin. You'll see that a lot of skin starts to become drawn into the cup. And I'll show you with 2 cups here. So now you can see a lot more of the skin is drawn into the cup. And this is much more suction than what we had with the medium, definitely a lot more suction than what you had with the weak. And what we're looking for in terms of the marks is that the skin can turn red, and then it will start to turn purple pretty quickly after this. And these marks, when it comes to strong cupping, they can take up to 20 days to resolve. And this is, as you start to have a client go through this treatment, then it will take less and less time because you're working on regulating their qi and blood. This is a very powerfully draining method because it powerfully removes qi and blood, and to really remove wind and stagnation in the body. Your client must have robust wei qi in order for them to feel benefit from this type of cupping. The skin is really in here. You can already start to see that it's starting to turn pretty bright red here. So any client who has any sort of illness, anyone who is frail, weak, young children, this is absolutely not the condition for them. It's going to make them worse over time. What this condition is good for is chronic musculoskeletal complaints. So someone, for example, who's just, had like a stiffness in their shoulder or bad back for many years, perhaps they have an old sporting injury, perhaps someone has had sciatica, any type of excessive heat conditions. So again, we talked about heat tends to affect the upper reaches of the body. So people who have a lot of like that warm type of injury and swelling in their shoulder or in their neck. And then this is also appropriate for children, but only over the age of 16. The cups can be left on for up to 5 minutes, but it usually takes much less time than that in order to get the reaction that you're going for. And you want to use caution because blistering and bleeding can occur in this strong method of cupping. So if that happens, you really want to make sure that you pull the cup off immediately and dress the blister appropriately. Resulting applications of strong cupping will result in much less prolonged marking, so less substantial marking, and the marks won't stick around as long. So when you're done with this type of treatment, go ahead and pull off your cups, and you can see we have more of a mark, and this is going to last a little bit longer.